Hello and welcome. I'm Ian Unger.
And I'm Logan Flaming.
And together we host the Ultimate Fan Podcast, the show where the greatest fans discuss the greatest in entertainment across the universe.
And tonight was one of the greatest cinematic experiences I've ever had in my entire freaking life.
My gosh. And tonight, I just have one question for y'all. First off, spoilers.
Yeah.
Second off,
if you haven't heard this movie, haven't watched this movie, don't listen to this podcast because we're going all the way.
Spoiled.
I just have one question for you guys. Favorite death?
Okay.
Okay, but
Man.
to start this off on the right foot, ladies and gentlemen, it's finally time. It's finally here. We just finished watching Avengers Infinity War.
Yes.
For the first time.
Sigh of
And
relief.
tonight
So
you'll be
amazing.
getting
I can
our
breathe.
immediate reactions, our straight, fresh off the theater.
Yeah.
And tonight,
Raw,
vulnerable, so raw,
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Within
torn
an hour
up.
of the theater raw.
Just-
Hopefully
God.
coherent.
torn up by the Groots, you know. Oh man,
By the Groots. I've never heard that one before.
I just made it
Can
up.
we make a
right
t-shirt?
now.
That was
Let's
amazing.
make a mug. T-shirt mug.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'd buy it.
Girl, you got me by the Groots.
Let's
There-
introduce
Wow.
the people.
This show is going to be more punny Thanos any other show.
And joining
I
us
didn't even know
tonight.
what that sentence was.
Tonight, and joining us tonight, we've got some great friends of ours. Everyone's been on the podcast before. What's up, y'all?
What's
Hello.
up?
I'm
Glad to be
back.
back.
We got Isaac, Gianna, and Caleb with us.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Super
And,
pumped to talk.
Yeah,
Super pumped to be here. Wow,
So,
thank you.
Isaac, you saw it in IMAX, right?
I did. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was it
and,
different than our
uh,
experience?
Nice.
Well, yeah, because
So
it was
weren't in
loud.
the theater.
No, what was your
It
experience?
was
like?
louder. Yes. Yeah. It was so.
Do you
good.
know for a matter of fact?
So, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first full film ever filmed, like cinematic film, filmed in IMAX, correct?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Completely?
Yeah.
Completely.
Completely.
Then why did it change aspect ratios?
I don't think it did.
No,
I
it
don't think
definitely-
did
there was
in
a
our
shot-
theater.
I noticed it.
There was a shot
There were
where
a-
Tony was talking
Yeah.
to Doctor Strange, where like it kept like when it was on Strange, it was one aspect ratio, and then when it switched, it was like
It may have been. I know, like it was a majority of the film was shot in IMAX. It may have not been the whole
We
thing,
can
but
look
I
it
know
up.
a ton of it was. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to go see this movie in IMAX.
Yeah, I really appreciated the sound because especially in those moments where the score really swells up in those emotional moments, it
Yeah.
was like
Incredible.
holy cow.
Favorite MCU score by far. It's
Who
so
did the
dark,
score?
emotional. Alan Silvestri.
Okay,
Really?
wow.
Yeah, so he did the first Avengers. He did
Wow,
about
yeah.
half of the Age of Ultron with Brian Tyler. You guys will know him from like movies like Forrest Gump, Back to the
Okay.
Future.
So he's been around the block.
It was
A little bit.
yeah,
Kind
that
of a
was
legend.
That was an incredible.
This score is
Kinda.
super dark and emotional, and I
Yeah.
loved it.
IMAX.com does say that the Russo brothers will be the first to capture a Hollywood feature using only IMAX digital cameras.
Wow.
Granted, we've only seen this film once, so we're not
Yeah.
exactly. I'll trust the interwebs on this one. I can't wait to see it in IMAX though. Just the way, even like seeing a regular 2D, like the IMAX cameras give it a completely different feel from any other Marvel movie, and it's so much more
Yeah.
epic.
Yeah. Yeah. It
It's-
really had that epic feel.
It
Watching
really did.
It's not just the cameras, man. Everything about this
No,
movie.
this was like a
sets
whole
the
10-year
seriously.
process leading up to this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why it was.
That's why, yeah.
Really emotional.
You feel those 10
Yep.
years.
yeah.
Like,
I'm speechless. So I don't know why I'm on a podcast because I'm
Seriously,
just like
I-
sitting here still like soaking it all
I
in.
left shell shocked. I sat there
Yeah.
as the credits rolled, and I was like, first of all, my
is
first
this what
reaction,
it's like to see God?
my first reaction was that was a ballsy movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was
100%.
risky, and
In a whole different way than any other MC, like the ballsy MC movies were.
Yeah, and most, not all, but most Marvel movies, I've gone into it going, okay, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be action. It's gonna look great. Gonna be good characters. I care about the characters, even if the story, this particular film, 1, 2, or 3 in their individual franchise or whatever,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
maybe it doesn't deliver super well on the development or whatever it is. But I've been able to go, okay, cool, this will be fun. This one, I was like, holy crap, that had real stakes to it.
Oh yeah, the
And-
steaks were
100%.
there. They were rare. They were
jeez.
just fatty and juicy and delicious.
Yeah, wow.
Man, I chowed on those
They
steaks
were well
the whole
done.
movie.
I'm still digesting mine. So
Oh my god. The puns.
I gotta say, like, that was what made it for me. And having read like the source material comic for this, like the main source material, like the Infinity Gauntlet comic, I was worried that like, because that comic has a little bit of a kind of a tidy ending, like a really neat ending to it. And
Ending is my least favorite part of that original story.
yeah, I
Kind of
I
tidies
agree.
everything up and like, okay, we're moving on.
Because it's so like just not just earth shattering, but like universe shattering, mind shattering. Reading that, and then at the end, everything's kind of back to normal. And maybe the second movie will have something similar to that. But I just felt like knowing, even having an expectation that like just coming right out and saying it, that like everyone could die conceivably. That didn't make me like not feel the stakes in every death. Like feel like the tension and like not wanting them to die, and also being like, oh, is he gonna kill them? Like, and literally every death scene, like every moment he was fighting with somebody or somebody was going up to them, I was like, somebody can just get killed at any moment in this movie.
Like they lost this movie. They lost.
Full
like
on.
that's
So hard.
Yeah, and I loved it, dude. It was so good.
Does anyone?
Oh my God.
Do you guys know where Thanos retreated to?
So
Final scene?
Yeah, he went to Gamora's planet.
That's what I was
and
guessing.
watched the sunset. Just like he said he wanted to do. Went to someone, like, I forget who asked.
He said
him, but
when
he's
this
like,
is all over.
When this is
like-
all over, like,
Yeah, I
what are you
remember
gonna
that
do?
line.
And he
I
was
remember
like,
that line. So
I'm
that
gonna
was
go
Gamora's
and watch
planet?
the sunset. Yeah, and I
I
believe
think
that was Gamora's
Gamora.
planet,
I think that was Gamora who asked him.
like baby Gamora or
Yeah.
like adult Gamora.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that I believe that he goes to Gamora's planet and watches that sunset.
Because remember, he
Sunrise.
said like after he
wanted to,
annihilated
like,
half
rest.
the planet,
Yeah.
he said like now that
Not
planet
half
is
the
a
planet, half
paradise.
the galaxy.
No. When I'm saying when he annihilated half of Gamora's planet,
Mm-hmm.
like back when she was a child, he was telling her like now that planet is a paradise, and like
That's true. Yeah.
see what I do works.
Look
or
like
whatever.
Kashyyyk.
I dig it.
It was
a-
it was more Wakandan than Kashyyyk.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was.
To me, it
for
was,
a second, I
Kashyyyk's
thought
got
he
way
went
more
to-
trees.
It was the baby of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Why not? Yeah.
Can I just say, the villain impressed me so
Easily in
Josh
favor of Marvel
Brolin.
villains.
Yeah.
And this is the first time, honestly, where a motion capture performance has like
so good.
Like Andy Serkis level.
It's good enough to the point where I forget it's an
I did.
effect.
I did.
And it's
Yeah.
just a performance.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've seen the effect, the performance transcend the effect.
Seriously,
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Of course, we all know we're watching a motion capture. Josh Brolin.
Oh yeah,
You know,
we know that's
we
not
know
like-
that, but
yeah.
You forget about it, honestly.
my brain
Honestly.
wasn't reminding me every time he popped up on screen. Oh, that's a motion capture. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't look that.
And that's
good.
what usually happens with motion capture
Yeah,
performances.
it was like I was blown away at
Yeah.
that. Totally
up
blown
there.
away.
how
like-
he was. This was the most emotive and like
Oh, yeah.
layered emotion capture
That
performance.
scene
Seriously.
where like Mantis is like trying to put him to sleep, and they're like all trying to take the gauntlet
That
off
was
of him.
so
and
amazing.
That's so much time where the camera's just on his face, and he's just like wigging out, like showing like he's just contorting his face in all these ways, and you see that all on camera
It
for like a
feels
solid
like
2
an actual
minutes.
performance instead of an effect.
Seriously.
It's incredible.
So
it's a
clean.
new bar in motion
Very clean.
capture.
Totally amazing.
I love all the hand stuff. Incredible, because like his
Hand
hands are
stuff?
so all of his hand, the detail in his hands, and like
Oh,
the
all the
expressions,
shots.
the
And
dexterity,
where he's holding
and
the stones
all the
and
times where
whatnot.
it focuses, him holding the stones, but also him focusing on him interacting with like live performers, and just like how well that's done.
That is
like
true.
close up.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a Jar Jar.
Speaking of like other motion capture performances, this is the best Rocket's ever looked.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
most
So good.
emotive, the most clear.
Honestly, the visuals, there was one shot that I noticed that stood out. It was just one, and it was
where it
super
took you
quick.
out of the film.
Just for literally maybe 1 second. And it was when they're at Wakanda, they're coming up to the
Tree line.
tree line they're all in those little hover kind of ship things.
Yeah.
And it like turns sideways and they all like slide out.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's just
I know
it
what
was
you're talking about.
one literally like one like
Where like the
camera swoop
proportions feel off.
where I could tell oh, those weren't actual
The way
actors
it feels
doing
off.
doing that. Like that was CG. characters.
Another one of those moments.
But that
for
was
me
literally it.
Was when you see Bruce Banner's head sticking out at the top
Yeah.
of the Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah.
Like he looked
And
like he had
the
a
face
Candace
looks
neck from
blatantly
Phineas and
like-
Ferb.
Yeah, it was a
like
little
blatantly
bit, yeah.
CGI. It
Yeah.
was super rubbery. And it was like,
But man, for a film with that many visual effects, like
They
they only
nailed it.
have really like two
Astounding.
noticeable moments.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Speaking of Bruce Banner,
Unbelievable.
Wait,
I
what
love-
are you thinking, Caleb? You're like
Yo,
freaking
like
out.
I really like the Death Guardians or whatever they're called. Like that one guy.
Black
looked
Order?
like-
Black
Black
Order?
Order.
Yes, the one guy looked like Cad Bane, and he's my favorite out of all of them.
Oh, yeah.
and it was super good.
Ebony Maw.
Yes, but the other, the girl, and then like the goblin looking guy, they were like they looked
Proxima
really
Midnight.
good.
What's the other one, Ian?
I'll look him up.
Yeah, but they looked way too CGI in some
I
scenes
didn't
where
like
that
the
took
girl.
me out. Yeah,
The girl, she took me out because
yeah.
it kind of reminded me of Ready Player One style.
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
face a
It
bit.
reminded me of,
So I was
like,
kind of
World of
like,
Warcraft.
video game.
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, this looks too unreal for me.
Because there were
too
times I
animated.
think like there were
Yeah.
times where it's actual actors in costumes and makeup, but then there are
Yeah.
times when they have to be next to people who
Yeah.
are like smaller, supposed to be smaller than them. Yeah, like I noticed it in particular in the last fight scene
Yeah.
where it's her, Okoye, and Black Widow. Like, and you can see the three of them next to each other, and she's obviously like.
And I think
Yeah.
for that reason, I honestly really didn't care about those two characters, like those two villains, that much. Like, they just didn't seem that
They
cool
were
to
cool
me.
when they had their
I mean,
time.
Ebony Maw
Yeah.
really had some threat level to me.
I
I,
liked him
feel
the
like
most.
Yeah, he had
Oh,
when
he
he
was
would
good.
when he would
performance.
just move his
Crazy.
hand and stuff would move, I was like, oh dang, this
scared
guy's
me.
a real threat here.
he was very
Yeah,
powerful.
it was also the one we got to spend the most screen time with.
Yeah.
and hang out with.
Yeah,
And even that first, the way the film opens, he's walking through the dead bodies
Oh yeah.
Oh,
of the
shoot,
Asgardian
yeah.
ship, and he's like giving that speech of like how they're like blessed to be
Yeah.
killed by
Yeah.
Thanos. I was like, dang, this is like
So
So
dark.
we're
we're starting
I
off
was
here
ex-
intense.
I was
Heavy.
I was expecting this movie to open with the slaughter of the Asgardians. I love that we
don't even
that
see it.
opens with like after
a
the battle.
distress signal.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like a Reservoir
Incredible.
Dogs
Yeah.
kind of a thing, you know, like a
Oh,
post
yeah.
heist, but it's like
Yeah.
everyone's dead. And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know what happened. Like,
I
everyone's
love how
slaughter.
the movie like starts with you hearing like the radio chatter of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Asgardian ship.
So
was
dark.
To
crazy.
Thanos' ship and like Thanos' ship not giving any response. They're like, there's women and children on here. We're not a war vessel.
Yeah,
And then it just cuts to the like
It-
after
Dead.
the
It
aftermath
brings-
of their slaughter.
It just
It's
brings
so cool.
everybody to like the edge of their seats. Like I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's like
Yeah.
to begin with is already on their edge, but like once
I-
those
so-
like
so
distress
I don't
signals
know.
come,
I don't know
it's
about
out.
your guys' theater,
Yeah.
but I was expecting, the Marvel Studios
Yeah.
banner to roll and everybody to cheer,
Yeah.
and clap. But it started on such a dark tone. It was dead silent.
No, so they started clapping in our theater.
for the record, I started that clap. I was
You did?
I went, and everyone's
Great
like, "Oh
job.
yeah, right, yeah, woo!" And then everyone started that.
Well, I'm mad at you then.
Why?
Because I recognized that there was no music
Yeah, so
behind
did
the
I.
Marvel
I
banner,
know.
and then I was like, "You all need to stop clapping right now."
I felt so bad.
That's
Yeah.
funny because in my theater it was, I think everybody noticed or no one was doing the starting the clap.
Yeah.
So it was dead silent.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
and it
And I
made for this
apologize
like
for
oh frick like
This isn't the movie you thought you were gonna see.
Like-
You're
Well-
just here for another fun Marvel movie.
seriously like this is opening
can leave.
totally
No, dude, I was
different.
pumped for this movie,
And
and when I
then
saw
when
it-
the I think it was when the Avengers title
Yeah,
Yeah.
card came out, then everybody cheered and stuff. But it was like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
this just started.
Yeah,
on a
I was
whole
pumped for it,
different
and
foot.
so when I saw like the red Marvel, I did the 2 clap, and everyone's like, "Yes," but then when everyone stopped clapping, I'm like, "There's no music." Oh shoot!
Well, next time you see it, just like point out that guy, be like, "Hey, don't be that guy.
Yeah.
I was that guy.
Shut up! You're just like
Also-
Sit down."
This movie's called A Quiet Place.
yeah.
Yo, I didn't.
Also, what did you guys think about Loki getting killed
Okay,
right
so-
there?
I knew
Hold on,
something
hold
about
on.
it.
Before
Yeah.
before we
Sorry,
get into any
sorry.
of that, I just want to similarly with like the style choices of the whole movie. Like, I turned to Logan at the end. It's like the font for the location
Yeah.
tags, and also in the end credits.
Yep.
There has not been another Marvel movie that has had an end credit scene like that. So straight. The font is like, and I leaned over
Not
to
end
him
credits
and
scene,
I
but
said,
just end credits.
I mean, sorry, yeah, end credits. And I said, like, I leaned over to him and I was like, this movie takes itself very seriously. Like, it knows what it's about. And I think that the creators believe this is like an Oscar level movie because Marvel has
I believe.
not been recognized like their films
No.
just haven't been recognized in the Oscars.
And this movie won't be either.
No, it
because this
won't.
is the most comic book film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this movie relies on continuity in a way
It could-
that
it could get
in a
special
way that
effects.
any other like Marvel movie.
I could see it
hasn't.
getting special effects. Honestly,
It's
for me,
It's gonna beat
I know
Solo.
it might not happen, but best directors, like they
the fact that the Russos can pull this
They
off
nailed
on
it.
this scope, nail every single character, give every single character their moment, and do amazing action, amazing character work, all while filming the second film at the same time is incredible.
we
And
got
huge.
You're totally
feat.
right. Every character got their moment.
the-
The
They
person
had-
who has been able to pull off something like that is Peter Jackson.
yeah,
That's
that's true.
literally it.
Although I was looking at the end credits and like there was like James Gunn in there.
Yeah.
And there were all these people who did like Guardians
Executive
films
producing,
and every
yeah.
other film and stuff. So they have probably helped in some
Oh,
way
yeah.
keep that direction in there.
yeah,
You know?
they're
Totally.
communicating with them
Yeah,
about like
exactly.
these are the
There's-
characters.
It's a team
these are where
effort,
they're
but they
going,
killed
like-
it. They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, because
Right.
everybody has to like they can't just make this movie by themselves and be like, okay,
No.
this is what we think these characters
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
They have to
You can't
This
do
was
that.
There's
literally
continuity,
such
like-
a team effort.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Marvel films are always made by an amazing team of people.
And you
but
do you know
it
what
takes.
I
But look at the level of input and like direction that the directors have on their individual Marvel films.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not just a movie made by a committee, and this movie still has a unique voice while serving all these characters, and the ability to do that as well as filming the second movie at the same time is just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate like that Marvel did like their like 10-year class reunion photo and stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool that you see like that they believe like they know what they've built and
Totally.
they believe in it.
And they're
like,
confident in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin. I was watching an interview with Kevin Feige the other day, and he was like, "Infinity War, the only way we could have pulled this story off is with like the characters that we have now, and these are the minimum amount of characters
Yeah.
that we like could to be able to pull off a story of this level. This is the minimum amount of characters that you need."
Yeah.
Totally.
They want more.
Yeah, and they're gonna get more.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Marvel's like they marketed like their 10-year anniversary so much is because they're considering it their first 10 years. And after watching this film, this is the first movie where you watch it, it's like, oh, this feels like a comic book movie in a way that no other comic book movie does.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to stay at that level, and I'm ready to stay at that point.
Yeah. Did you guys like that little on the Marvel banner?
The
like
10.
the little 10
Yeah,
in the
it's
studios?
awesome.
It was
So
lit.
cool.
Very
Thought that
nice.
was nice.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
let's talk about Loki's death.
All right, let's get into the nitty. Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
I thought it was great. I thought like everything about it was super good because he's died, quote unquote,
yeah.
before,
Dozens
of
right?
times.
But
Millions
he
of
literally
times.
could have
but
done
in,
that.
A gajillion.
in the
Okay,
MCU
like
canon,
twice.
he's died twice.
Yeah, and he could have done that again because he came out after everything was done and he's like, "I give myself to you," but he came out of nowhere. Like he could have just cloned himself
Yeah.
and died. I'm not sure why. I understand like the emotional level of that. It was super like he needed like it's a emotional movie,
Yeah.
right? But like he could have just cloned himself and like died,
Yeah.
right?
You know,
He could have, but he wanted to kill Thanos there and that because you got to remember,
Yeah.
Can he not
Asgard is
kill?
his people too.
Yeah, but can he not kill Thanos with a clone?
or
Does that not?
I-
Can he
I
not
don't-
like physically?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think if Thanos were to touch him,
He would know.
He would know.
Okay, that makes sense. That was just when I was thinking it. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
that's a great death. I was just trying to like.
Yeah, I expected Loki to die in the first 5 minutes. I knew what the first 5 minutes were going to be, not just because
Yeah.
of spoilers, but just because like common sense.
I forgot about Hulk. Honestly, like
but I think I did enjoy the death of Loki. I wish it was more of a moment, but I think because it's sad because it isn't a moment. He's just another face, and
You get to see-
that is-
you get
he's
to
just
see
another
Thor
person
do
that
it.
is dead in the wake
Yeah.
of Thanos' slaughter.
You saw all the Tom Hiddleston fans go in the
Yeah.
theater though.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
really
a girl
did.
freaked.
All the-
Yeah.
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 I love that, like, quote unquote, in the end for Loki, like he is choosing, like
Yeah.
he's choosing to fight for Asgard.
Son of Odin, he
And
looked
he's
at him.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I love that. Yeah, when he was
Yeah.
like he says son of Odin, and he
He
turns
took
and
up
looks
his
at
pride.
Thor. Yeah, like he didn't say like. He did say like King
Loki
of
of
Jotunheim or
Jotunheim,
whatever.
and
I think
but-
that was his like
Spoilers,
I'm done
spoilers.
running away, and that's why he didn't like clone. I think he
Yeah.
wanted to actually like, you know, live up to what he's done.
And even though his attempt was so meager and so weak,
was.
like we all knew it was.
He even said he's the god
but
of
it was
mischief,
something.
and then he
And I
did.
think even in that moment, it kind of rekindled Thor's love for his brother.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
it was
'cause
like
remember
there was
at the
a
end of Thor
little-
Ragnarok, he was left with apathy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Towards him.
I was a little upset though at first when like Loki started like, doing all this in front of Thor and like, basically trying to choose like to serve under Thanos and it really bothered me. I was just like, what the heck? Like, you're not going to get away with this. Like, this is just crap. And then to see what happens in the end, it's just...
Oh, yeah.
It was expected, but it still kind of got to me because it was like, oh...
It got to Thor.
Yeah.
You see
it
him,
got to Thor, and it changed Thor's life.
I
With the
love
rocket
his
scene.
reaction to it and the fact that he's gagged and like...
He's done.
You just hear him like muffle cry.
Yeah.
And then like after Thanos leaves... Like, the ship is literally blowing up, and he just has a moment.
Stays there.
Yeah.
He doesn't
to
even
mourn.
care, dude.
He's
Like,
mourning
Yeah,
over his
he doesn't
brother.
even try to leave. He just stays in the ship like he's going to die with Loki.
Yeah.
and he's probably fine with that.
Even
And
after
that's
all
why,
the
that's
all
why
the
I'm
crap
okay
his
with the
brothers
fact
put
that
him
like
through.
the scene moves on from there, Logan, is
Yeah.
because like I think you're right, like the villains spent as much time as they were going to spend, and Thor only had so much time to spend. The ship was blowing up. Like
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish... I love, like, the characters that I love to get huge, big, like,
Death
ends.
scenes, yeah.
But in Thanos, that's not the case for Loki.
he's interested in killing half the universe in the snap
he
of his
failed
fingers.
Loki, and this is just another pawn who's failed him that he's just going to kill
Yeah.
until he gets what he wants, which is the Tesseract. Mm-hmm. Also, I love Heimdall's death as well.
Yeah.
And his final act of sending
Yeah.
Hulk
All right,
to Earth, and I love that we get to see Thanos like best the Hulk in combat because it establishes
That was so good.
It establishes
Just insane
Thanos'
Thanos is.
Like skill
His
as
military
a combatant.
prowess, yeah. And his
Yeah.
ability. I love how like Hulk is doing what Hulk does best. He's just smashing him. He's just like wailing into Thanos, and then Thanos like stops, and it's just like, yeah, you're totally right. How calculated he is.
He knows what
it's
he's
like
doing.
Captain America
His
going up
punches.
against
He knows
a
how to throw
goon.
punches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he knows how to throw his
like
punches.
left,
he knows
right,
exactly
uppercut,
where
like,
to hit
yep.
Hulk, and like
Yeah.
Hulk doesn't get another shot on
Hulk is
him.
just like trying to hug him to
Yeah.
the ground and like
He's like martial artsing him. Like
Yeah.
that was
Like, my
such
favorite
a
part
He's
about
the
that
skilled
scene is
warrior
like
from
that.
Titan.
Yeah, basically. My favorite part about that scene was the sound effect. Whenever Hulk punched, it was quieter, but whenever Thanos punched Hulk, it was like a snap.
Oh.
It hurt.
Like
It was
a
like
crunch.
you knew that
Yeah.
Thanos was above in every single way. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
sound
Just in
design
strength
in this
alone.
Do you
movie.
It's
think-
also
Yeah.
so cool that they're like the same size.
Do you
Yeah.
think
Because you don't get to
um,
see Hulk fight like a character of his own size very
No.
often.
And lose.
yeah, that was
I don't
really
think
good.
I've ever seen that.
Do you think like towards the middle ending of the movie, Hulk is like afraid to like come out? Do you think that kind of like traumatized
yeah.
him a lot?
Oh,
like he
I
was just
think
like
so.
no.
That's how
He's
Caleb.
like, no.
That's how Caleb read that, and I didn't
think
know
about that.
exactly what it was during the movie. But then when Caleb said that to me, it clicked for me.
I
and
totally
really
thought
liked
that was it. Me and
I
Aaron both
didn't
thought
understand
that
at
was it in the
first. I'm
movie.
like, why is he afraid? And I was, yeah,
He's afraid of Thanos.
he's
Oh,
afraid
yeah.
of Thanos.
I
He
think
just got
super
his
cool.
butt kicked.
I think in the first time he tries in like the park, and especially all the times where he's like, no. I think that's totally the Hulk is afraid.
Yeah.
And he doesn't.
I
want
was
to come
super
out and
confused
fight.
on that
He's
part
like,
because
nope.
what was the first split personality thing introduced in Ragnarok? Because I never saw that in like the other.
In the movies.
Yeah,
It's always been the case. Hulk has always
Yes.
been his
in
own
the comics
person.
and all that stuff.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
in the MCU.
Even in the MCU.
Yeah, it's Hulk has
But
always
he's
been
been-
his own person.
he's
and
been
Bruce
tunnel
Banner's been
vision,
always his
yes,
own person.
but, like-
the more time that Hulk spends as
Yes,
the
Caleb,
Hulk,
yes,
the
you're
more
right.
the Hulk
Ragnarok.
develops.
Yeah, but what about that? Okay, so when
Because he's
the
basically the Hulk. Wasn't he the Hulk all of Ragnarok, or did he go back to Bruce
he
Banner?
went back to
He went back
Bruce.
to Bruce.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when
I
most of
remember. But at the
Ragnarok,
end,
he was the
Ragnarok.
Hulk, and he was
Yes.
like in the Hulk thing, which messed with me when I first saw it because I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, he's Bruce, but I guess there's a second personality.
Yeah.
But like, in like I forgot which movie when he said like I'm always angry or something.
That's
in
Avengers 1.
Yeah.
Avengers 1. At the end of that, he was in the Hulk and he said that, right?
No.
he said
What
that
movie
as
did he
was
say that then?
transformed.
He says that as Bruce Banner, and then transforms.
There was a
into the
movie where
Hulk.
he was like as the Hulk and he talked like Bruce Banner.
Nope.
He
Pretty
doesn't.
sure.
He doesn't say I'm always angry.
No,
but
he doesn't
does
say that,
talk
but he
like
says
Bruce
something.
Banner.
Yeah, so I always thought he was this one person, right? Except he can't control himself
It's the
physically
same body.
and mentally. But like the whole split personality thing, I didn't get until like Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So
that was awesome.
and that's the thing, though, is like it's been there all along.
Got it.
But they
It
like
grows.
and it hasn't been
makes
truly
sense. It's
acknowledged
been a long
until
time.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't been
Well,
said
Age of
verbally
Ultron
on
is a
screen.
big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it
you don't see the split personality side. You just see like the
you
trouble.
see it,
See one or
but
the other.
It's
Yeah.
implied, but it's not
not voiced.
verbally acknowledged.
Yeah,
or
which
it
he's
is
voiced.
not
in
like having
Ragnarok.
And that's what I'm
conversations.
saying.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an audience member and you don't like you, Caleb, if
Yeah.
you're not picking up on it, Ragnarok is where they say like yeah, like we're two different people, and like
And I'm glad they introduced that.
yeah.
I think
there's
also-
actually sorry.
Oh, sorry.
There's this really cool line in Thor Ragnarok once he's changed back to Bruce and he's like talking with Thor and he says like every time Mark Ruffalo actually really loves this line. He's like, usually when I transform into Hulk, it feels like I have a hand on the wheel and he has a hand on the wheel and we're both like kind of driving the car. He's like, but this time it was like he had both hands on the wheel and I was in the trunk. And like,
Yeah.
That's such a great like analogy for
oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that from Ragnarok.
You were
Let's-
going to say G?
What I was gonna say is I think Bruce was also just okay with like being the Hulk as well. Like he was just like, he was trying to force himself because it was much needed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he didn't really seem scared that he
Yeah.
was the Hulk. Like he was just like, oh, I'm
like for the
accepting
first
this.
time, yeah.
He's like, this is who I am.
Well,
So-
I
Yeah.
think it was less of acceptance of that and more just realizing the threat.
The need.
That was
The
the
need.
need
True.
for the Hulk.
But I thought it was cool, like, though I think you're right. Whereas, like, from the first Avengers movie where they want him on the
terrified.
team, like, they keep kind of trying to assuage him and be like, no, you're here because you're brains and we need you to track the Tesseract. But he's kind of, like, wary. He's like, I think you guys, because he's been used as a weapon before, and he doesn't want that to happen again. Whereas, and he's fearful of it. But now in
'Cause he
this
couldn't
moment, he's
control it.
like trying to like
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah, I think he can control him more now. That's why he's like, I
Yeah.
can do this, and the Hulk's like, nope, Thanos, he's way too big. He's like,
Yeah.
that's
He's
a
way
no.
too big.
Yeah.
He's way too purple.
Yeah.
But I love how
Even
what
his
it
blood is
does
purple.
dramatically for Bruce Banner, because this is the first time we've got a Bruce Banner movie and not a Hulk movie.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's so cool, and then we get to see Bruce Banner throw down and use his brain on the battlefield to show why Bruce Banner's an
I
Avenger,
love him
not
taking
just
out
the Hulk. I
taking
love
out that member of the Black Order
Yeah,
single-handedly.
that was really
It's
cool.
so cool.
And using his brains even more than his brawn.
Yeah,
like
it
his suit.
really it doesn't establishes Bruce Banner as more than just the wimpy scientist.
Yeah. Anybody want to
He's
know
a
that
smart,
that
intelligent
Black
guy.
Order member's name?
Please.
Super Giant.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
So there's in the comics there's 5 of them, but I think we only got 4 in the movie. We got Ebony Maw.
Yeah, it was 4. The girl.
So Proxima Midnight is the girl.
Yeah.
Corvus Glaive is the kind of elf goblin looking guy.
Him
and
and
then
the
Super Giant is
are
the
like
big
World
one.
of Warcraft looking.
Yeah.
You guys see the movie World of Warcraft?
I haven't.
did.
Reminded me
It's kind
of
of a guilty
CGI.
I have
pleasure.
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. You know what is it good? You hesitated.
Oh, we saw
It's more of a
Warcraft
guilty.
together.
Yeah.
Okay, you
with
know what?
Trenton. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
The funny thing
Let's
is,
keep
like,
talking about this movie.
my
Yeah.
mom always like never wanted us to play Warcraft. You know, like, yeah, don't play that. It's off the deck or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and then like we were sitting in a movie theater and a trailer for Warcraft came on screen, and my mom was like, leans over me, she's like, "That looks real good. We should go see it." And I was like,
Thanks, Mom.
double standard.
Yeah,
like
wow.
what?
Hey, Mom.
Let's talk about the battle in New York.
Yeah. So okay,
Dope.
catch me up.
Battle
'Cause
of
there
New
was,
York.
This was also a longer film, which I really appreciated.
So much
It was
to talk
that
about.
extra like half-hour chunk.
Oh yeah.
Just to really beef it out. I really loved. But so we went from opening scene on the Asgardian ship, Loki dies, that whole thing. Did we go straight to Tony and Pepper on walking?
Yes.
Is that okay?
I love
we
that
did.
intro.
I just
with,
couldn't.
like,
I was
Me
like,
too.
did we go to that
It was
or
like
did
the
we?
slow build.
It was so nostalgic too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tony
that
and
was
Pepper,
great.
like
They were scared.
we've had 10 years with
So
these
rooting
characters,
for them.
and they mean so much to me at this point.
Yeah.
And hearing
I'm
them
so
talk about their
invested in
wedding.
them.
Like
Oh,
it's
it's
Yeah.
so
happening.
cool.
You're invited to my wedding.
So much
Yeah.
growth.
But like even this movie was so funny.
So
there were so
I
many
love that
one-liners.
Strange. So had Strange and Tony ever met yet?
No, that was their
No.
first meeting.
So that was their first meeting.
Yeah.
I just love. Strange is like a kind of a continual thread through the whole. Like
One of my
movie
favorite
plot.
MCU
Yeah.
movies. I don't know why. Doctor
And-
Strange.
Dude, yeah,
I love
that
this
was the
character.
biggest
Yeah.
surprise of my MCU rewatch is how much I
Really?
really love
Right?
Doctor
It's
Strange.
dope.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Do you
so
know what
good.
I like is the like hop, skipping, and jump between that movie, Thor Ragnarok, and
Yeah.
this, where you just see like the level of confidence and
Yeah.
ability that he has, and like him going toe to toe with Thanos
When he throws
and
down
holding
with
his
Thanos, it's
own.
Yeah.
awesome.
And
For a
like,
while, at least.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, that is the source. Like, that's the Stephen Strange I knew and loved from the comics, who can literally, like, he can go up against somebody wielding, like, the majority of an Infinity Gauntlet.
And he also looks through like all these possible futures and stuff. That's we've never
He said
seen.
14 billion,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
just some crazy number.
Also,
Yeah,
you guys,
that was
I
the-
know the spells. Sorry, I'm geek out.
Do
moment.
it.
Wait, what?
Like,
Say it. Let's go.
I turned to Aaron when he or Kevin or somebody. So it's I'm gonna mix
Do
up
it.
the name, but they're called like the Red Bands of Ooh, I can't remember.
Can you
It's not
recite
the
it?
Vishanti, but it's. I feel like it starts with an M. But it's like different than like his crackling like firecracker magic
Yeah.
or whatever. Like when he used like these, they look like these huge, like red bands,
Oh,
and they're
like
holding
the-
like Thanos' gauntlet
Yeah,
and
that was
holding him
different. I
down.
noticed that.
That's like a specific spell he uses a bunch in the comics.
That's
like
dope.
That was
where
cool.
he kind of has like almost an anime thing in the comics where he's like
Oh, really?
the red bands of whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, like where he says what he does before he
Oh.
does it. But
That's
So-
different. Yeah.
It took me like three tries to get into Doctor Strange, and once I finally saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is actually a really good movie." And this movie, I really appreciated his
Yeah.
character, not only because like yes, he's like pretty powerful in his magic, but he can hold a conversation with Thanos that I don't think Peter could hold or Iron Man could hold.
Totally.
And so it kind of brought out that emotion out of Thanos that I don't think
Sidorak.
any of the
Yeah.
other characters could have seen.
Totally.
crimson bands of
Yeah,
Sidorak.
because
Go
Thanos
Doc.
respects him as a sorcerer.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Because his conversation was
Super
great. Like
good.
he just
Yeah, that was cool.
yeah, his mind was strong.
I liked the level that seeing the maturity and seeing like
Yeah.
the level that
It's the
Strange is ready
maturity
to play
that,
at.
like,
Yeah.
And
that
that's
he
why
has.
like we talked about this in our Strange podcast about how like the stuff that he's dealing with and how like the metaphysical threats and that Tony has no idea like the level or the scale or the scope. And so when he and
If he
Strange
did,
meet,
he would have a heart attack.
Like
Yeah.
the
He would
protect
have
your
way more
reality
anxiety.
type of thing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
when Strange and him meet for the first time,
Yeah.
Tony has this bravado and this sense of like, I'm an Avenger. I've
I'm the
defended the
protector of
Earth,
this world.
yeah, multiple times. Like,
Yeah.
who the heck are you? And Strange is like, buddy, you don't even know what you're up against, and I do, and I can take it. Can you? Like,
Yeah, that was cool.
But then, what do you think about Tony going up against
Tony
Thanos?
holds his own in
he
this
did.
movie.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a little OP?
No, I don't think at all. I think Iron Man like brings it to 10 in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Do you think it was because of the new technology in his suit?
the
Oh,
nano?
definitely.
Yeah, the nanotech. This is probably my favorite Iron Man suit ever.
Yeah. I mean,
I
listen,
loved the nanotech.
when he like did like pulled down the moon and everything came down. That shot, the
So
cinematic.
incredible.
I'm like, right when everything was going right past him, I'm like, Tony's done. Like he's
Yeah.
I
done.
held my
Yeah,
breath.
I'm scared for
I was
that.
like,
Like, and if he didn't have that nanosuit, like a part of a moon was on him at that
Yeah.
point, like coming from
Yeah.
out orbit, right? He would have been dead.
Yeah.
like he should have been dead.
Speaking of which, I loved when they crashed like part of a ship on Thanos.
Yeah.
and he's like, "Haha,
That was
did
so
it."
cool.
And then who was it?
Peter was
it
like, "You're only
Peter who's
pissing him off."
You're
Yeah, or
just
no, it was
pissing him off, like-
Star Lord.
Yeah.
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 Peter.
Oh, jeez.
there's two
we're
Peters.
tired.
There's
It's
two
fine.
Peters
Yeah,
I
in
know,
this.
you're right.
But seriously,
Favorite moment in that New York battle was Spidey.
Yeah,
Yes.
When like
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
when
when
he
he
finds
comes in,
out
yeah.
Out of
and
the
he's like
school
has
bus.
Nets distract him.
Yeah.
That was
And he just
hilarious.
comes in straight
like,
up
come-
as Spider-Man. I was just like, this
like,
feels
come up
like
with-
Spider-Man.
come up with a distraction.
Spider-Man is shot differently in this movie than he is in Civil War and Homecoming, and it just feels way more like Spider-Man to me.
Since we're on
I love
Spider-Man, that was my favorite death scene.
Oh yeah, between
My-
him and Tony,
Was
that
that
ripped
yours?
my
I
heart
almost
out.
cried.
That was crazy.
Ripped
that
my
was,
heart
I
out.
did cry.
He was like, I don't know, that whole scene. I almost cried. I almost cried in that, and then the Peter Quill with Gamora scene.
Oh man.
But the
gosh.
Spider-Man, since we're on that, I can't.
Tears?
Wait, do you mean the scene where she makes him
So many
promise to
tears.
kill her? Or
That was emotional too, but the
or the
actual
one where he-
shooting when he
So-
went to
Yeah.
remember
Just-
with the bubbles.
Oh,
yeah,
Gosh, that was
that was. I'm like,
intense.
he's
Yeah.
actually gonna do, and he
that
did
was
it.
crazy
and then
because he almost did it.
he got the data seal
He
of
did
approval.
do it.
Remember, he said,
But,
"I
like-
like you."
oh, he turned.
Yeah.
You're
Like,
right. He
backed up.
did.
Dead
did
but
he-
like,
he
Yeah.
pulled the
Thanos turned it
trigger,
into
yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
bubbles.
Freaking
yeah.
Drax. I knew he was gonna mess things up from the beginning.
But talking
I
about
love
characters
Drax.
getting their moments though, like
yeah, he got his moment, but Gamora would never have been captured without him.
no, but
I'm pissed.
You know what I love? Like you're totally right, Caleb. That scene, and I love how
Which
Peter's
scene?
just focused.
shooting scene.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
shooting
Yes.
scene. How Peter's so focused on like, I told you, like I was trying to like lead you guys, and I told you to go right, and none of you listened to me, and now look what's
no
happening.
one
Yeah.
likes him as a
Yeah.
captain.
Yeah.
He's a cowboy.
yeah.
Actual,
Peter is more like a cowboy in this movie than he is in any other film.
Yeah, during
Yeah.
this time, actual tears came from my face. I don't think I've cried in a movie like that since like How to Train Your Dragon 2. Honestly, like
Wow.
I swear, like I was crying. Like at this point, like I was so choked up. And at this point, when I was
Yeah.
singing the Guardians, like I love Guardians. Yeah, listen to the second
I'll be
podcast.
honest.
There's like
Guardians
3
too.
different fake deaths to the Guardians.
I
and
choked
it like
and
slayed
cried.
me every time.
Yeah,
What about
Drax and
I actually
Mantis. Like,
cried.
Yeah, what about the Power Stone when they like had the whole shockwave that knocked out Peter?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that
they
was
were
like
dead
I
then.
thought that was
I
a
thought they
dead
were
scene. I'm
done.
like, that was
That's
super
why I
fast.
A little
cried.
confusing.
I
That couldn't
was-
have been a death
and
scene.
that's what I was saying is like this whole movie just had that level of tension and that level of like vulnerability where
You don't
you're
know who's
like
gonna
But
die.
it was great.
anybody could die at any moment,
Yeah.
and you feel like it could just be a blink, and
Yeah.
like they wouldn't even give you the time of day to mourn.
This is the 100% The Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
this is no. This is Infinity War. It's its own thing.
But no, it's the middle. It feels like the middle chapter where things
It
go
does
wrong
feel.
for the heroes, and you end with a cliffhanger.
And here we have
Yo,
a
this
special
is the
break
middle
about
chapter,
Star Wars.
like 19 movies in.
Dang.
Dang.
But no, like it's a
Yeah.
little different because Return of the Jedi is Avengers 4. In
Yeah.
a year.
Like if this movie was its own thing and it ended how it did, I would be completely satisfied with how this movie played out and everything. I'd be
That's
fine.
one
wait,
thing.
just leaving it?
Yep.
No way. You
Yep.
gotta fix things.
No.
So that
Just
is
to
one
piss
thing I
people off.
appreciate though.
What?
Is
you would.
this movie is its own story, meaning we obviously know there's another film coming, and so
I didn't know
like,
at the end of it. I totally
there's
forgot.
there's
year
stuff
from
coming,
now.
but this like it kind of drives me nuts when movies bank on the fact that they know they have another film coming.
Like the Hunger Games,
So
how
they
that worked out.
they push
Yeah.
stuff. They leave. Like, can you imagine if we had cut off some of those story threads
Yeah.
like 2 scenes earlier and
Yeah.
pushed and left it at a really big cliffhanger?
Yeah.
Like this completed this story, and we go, oh crap, where's it gonna go now?
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Like
it's
Empire,
like
it completes its story
Exactly.
but it still leaves you with a cliffhanger.
It's not
totally.
like-
It's like we know
Yeah.
there's got to be some
Ad.
resolution to this,
Star Wars.
but like what
Yeah,
what's gonna
hashtag
happen?
ad.
Yeah,
That's almost to me more like scary of a cliffhanger than a literal is like
10 different
let's say they'd
stories.
stopped the movie right when because there was when he
Right then,
when
like
he
Thanos
when he
like walks into Wakanda.
or when he snaps
Oh,
his
yeah.
fingers and it goes like
Yeah.
didn't
'cause
it
it
do like a
could've
big
stopped right
boom
there.
and it like
Yeah.
like can you imagine if it would have stopped right there and we
There
would
would
all
have been
been
like 5 storylines that
think-
would have been open ended.
I think
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
would have made it where it's like that would be so disrespectful to the fans in a
Yeah.
way because it's like that's when it becomes like, oh, we just want your money.
Gimmicky.
This
yeah.
is
Yeah,
like
very like
So I really
merchandise.
appreciate
You
that.
treat the
gimmicky.
audience with the same
No.
amount of
So
respect.
disrespectful
Yeah.
if it ended that way.
I-
So I
That's what I
appreciate they
love.
wrapped it up, but it's still like, where's this going to go?
Yeah.
Holy cow!
So I've got 2 things to say like along these lines. The first is that number one, I love how they left the whole thing with Doctor Strange like having a plan or like
Yeah.
knowing that
He knows
like,
the one future that they're trying to go towards.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and he believes that like what is happening, even like him dying and like the actions that they've done, like are leading to that future, but like having no payoff for that, like
Yeah.
no
Yeah,
nod,
I love
no
that too.
end credit
Wait,
scene that's
Strange
like
died?
this is his
Yep.
plan,
Okay, I forgot.
like he's here or he saved this like
Totally.
the only end credit scene is a nod to Captain Marvel, and that movie might be
With a freaking
completely
pager.
unrelated.
Yeah.
Pager
Like-
because she said in the 90s.
Second.
So dope.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my second big thing. Sorry, Caleb.
No, you're good.
Is
Whoa.
that the only like real resolution we get in this movie? Because all of our heroes, no resolution. Tony is still freaking stranded on Titan.
with
He's alone. I
Nebula,
thought of
like-
that in the car. How is he gonna? He's gonna open the next movie with him building like a whole new Stark Tower.
I
on
don't
this,
even
on
know.
this
I don't
planet,
even know. I don't
right?
even
Yeah.
care. Do you know what I do care
He's
about?
gonna meet up with the Nostromo when they come to visit.
But you know what? Nebula's
Do you know what I
there.
do care about
What do
in
you
this
care about?
movie?
What's up?
And what did get resolved is Thanos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanos is the only
He had a
person who
full
has
arc.
resolution at the
Yeah.
end of this movie. And like
He
that's
got what
why
he
the last
wanted.
shot's on him, and that's why at
sigh.
the end of the credits,
Yeah.
it doesn't say the Avengers will return. It says Thanos will return.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And can we talk about while we're on that? Can we talk about the greatest like reveal, like
Red Skull.
Red
the
Skull.
greatest reveal in the entire MCU?
That waited a
blew
long
my
time.
freaking mind.
That was crazy.
that blew my mind.
I had no. I forgot.
Okay,
about
so
him.
catch me up-
2011 was
catch
the
me
last
up.
time we saw him.
Yeah.
when he was shot into space from the Tesseract
I forgot he's even
because
shot in
it's
the
the
space.
space stone.
Yeah.
and now we see him on this planet.
And that was at the end.
I was
of
wondering
Captain
how he was
America.
there.
First
I was like,
Avenger,
what?
right?
First, yeah.
Yeah.
Cap 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was trying
So
so
the
hard to think
Space
back
Stone
to it.
sent him there. Is that kind of
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Basically.
wow?
You know what I appreciate also is that this movie, like you're saying, Logan, is so comic book. It doesn't try to. it exposits what it needs to, but it doesn't try to catch everybody in the movie theater up. It can't.
That's true.
It just can't.
Yeah,
like to be
I
like,
appreciated that.
this is
Or
Red
more.
Skull, but for the people who have been watching, he pulls his hood back and you get your moment
I
of
heard-
like, freaking, that's Red Skull.
Yeah.
Like,
I heard
And
three
That was
people
people-
Logan.
who
that was
don't-
Logan in it.
They just go, oh, that's a kind of a scary looking guy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
but it still
But then,
holds up.
and he does say like, he has like a little bit of exposition where
Yeah.
he's like, you know, I meddled with the stones before and I was sent here, and that's
Yeah.
all you need for this story.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's one of the ways this is one of the most comic book films of all time is a true comic book crossover where if you didn't read all the different 18 different titles leading up into this comic crossover when they all come together, you're going to be lost. You have to
yeah.
read that going into the crossover to understand the crossover.
Yeah.
It's so comic book, and I love it, and it respects the audience, and it pays off. It's not pandering, and it's paying off to the people who love MCU continuity.
Yeah,
Totally.
and that's one of the pet peeves I have about going to these kind of movies because either the whole theater is like yes, and then everyone's cheering, and then
Yeah.
and then after the cheering dies, you hear 3 different people around you being like, "What is that? What is that?" And then they get out their phones, and then it's distracting, and then you're pissed throughout the entire like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
That's
But-
why we went to the first showing
Yeah.
on opening night, so we didn't have to deal with those people.
Yeah.
Shout out
Me and
to-
Levi sat next to like 3 of those.
Shout out to
Dang
theater. What was it?
8.
Auditorium 8.
yeah, that was
Man,
that
7:30
projector was lit.
showing.
The projector
It
was
was-
so clear.
Yeah,
I was
that's
surprised.
why that's
Very
my favorite
memorable.
theater in Eugene.
Yeah. I
Best
was so
sound,
surprised.
best projector.
Theater 3 is garbage. Don't ever go in that one. There was literal
When you
puke.
start talking about the specific auditoriums in your theater, like,
Yeah.
we're nerds.
Yeah.
Like,
I
you
know.
have your
Nerdy, nerdy.
favorites.
Seriously.
Second favorite death scene.
Oh,
Nick
God.
Fury.
Gamora.
No, Nick
Gamora.
Fury.
Nick Fury.
When you get the
Gamora.
Pulp
Okay,
Fiction
So
reference,
okay,
Gamora
let's-
come on.
let's
had
tone
weight
it.
to it.
Let's bring it down, and we'll just go around the circle, and
do
we'll
it.
just definitively say
Okay.
before we talk about
Pass
each
the
other's
stick around.
your number one favorite death scene. Did you say Loki is your number one?
No,
Caleb?
my number one was
Peter and Tony.
Peter.
Peter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
G.
I think Gamora, because that messed me up. Like from that moment
When
on,
Thanos kills her.
when Thanos kills her, I was just kind of hurt the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Like Thanos, you felt with him. didn't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mantis to
So
help me.
mine, I'll bring in a whole nother wild card. Mine was actually
Vision.
Vision.
Yeah.
I knew
Really?
before
Wow.
you said it.
Yeah, I really appreciated
He died twice.
his understanding versus
He's a man.
Scarlet
Scarlet's
Witch's understanding,
man.
and she
And her emotions.
she
and,
gets
like,
it, but
yeah.
she's like she doesn't want to face that reality,
She
and
can't
I think
accept
it's
Which is funny because she can manipulate realities.
yeah, it was just such a like pure sacrificial character
Yeah.
moment that I love that he's so on board, and yet because people care about him, they won't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And it comes down to literally the last
trade
second.
souls.
It's Cap's
Nothing.
philosophy. We don't leave a man behind. We don't
Yep.
trade life for
Trade
a life.
life. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
And so, and I thought that was a great kind of end for
Yeah.
that.
I
That's a
love
good
that we
point.
get to spend that time with him and Scarlet Witch like on the run in
Yeah.
Ireland.
Short-lived,
too.
but really
Yeah.
good.
Short-lived, but
Scotland,
so good.
but yeah.
But it means a
I
lot
love that.
when Scarlet Witch has to
So,
do that to Vision.
Remind me of his powers. Basically, he's manipulating himself to appear as a man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
basically.
Yep.
Because that kind of threw me off. I was like, "What?" And then he gets hit, and he goes right back to looking like Vision. I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah, because
that-
he's expositing energy
Got
to
it.
look like Paul Bettany.
got it." Okay,
Yeah. My top. Oh, gee, I was gonna say Gamora. I think
it.
that it's gonna be different. What I appreciate is we have these different relationships and these different couples, and like you're saying, Logan, you have your people who really love Guardians, but then you have your people who like are just so like fans of Vision and Scarlet Witch, and I feel like I know like Cassie when she goes to see it. She might feel for Gamora's death, but that Scarlet Witch and Vision scene, especially like scene, she's like, trying to destroy the stone, and he's like mouthing to her, and you can see him like mouth, "I love you." Oh, you're
Yeah.
getting choked up right now. G.
Yeah, I'm just like
I'm sorry, but I know
Sad violins are
Cassie's
playing in
just
my-
gonna be like waterworks.
Movie scores
Just
playing in my
she's
head.
gonna be curled up in a ball, like
Yeah.
dying on the
Yeah.
theater floor. So for me,
Visually so good.
man,
Say it.
I think my
Just say it.
okay. I think the best, like the most important death scene in the movie is Gamora because
Yes.
of Thanos.
Most
Yeah.
important, yes.
But
Yeah.
my favorite is actually Black Panther.
With
Really?
Because it's don't destroy
Sorry,
your
guys.
mind.
I
Because
just
it's
freaking
ballsy.
love it.
It's so ballsy.
Yo,
I
It
love
is
it so
true.
much.
That-
I love that.
So when they
Face.
they took him out and Spider-Man, I'm like,
No, you know what I loved
They're
about Black
too
Panther?
new.
and all the Guardians except for Rocket. That's
Yeah.
so dramatically interesting to me.
Yo,
Yeah.
I was thinking about that because I didn't see Rocket die, so he didn't die.
and I
He's
love
not
that
dead.
Rocket's
He's
on
not
Earth.
dead.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool.
Like, that was
Exactly.
crazy.
Favorite like unexpected team up in this film that I loved.
Rocket, Groot,
And
Thor.
No, I expected that. I knew
Rocket
that.
and Bucky.
Rocket and Bucky.
That was cool.
Rocket
So-
and
then
Bucky.
That moment was
Bucky
cool.
picks him up and he's just like using
And then he's
Rocket
like,
to spray
"Hey, how
all
much
these
for
guys.
that gun?"
I'm gonna
And he's
get
like,
that
"It's not for
arm."
sale. How much for that
Yeah.
arm?"
Yeah.
And then what does he say at the end? He's like, "I'm gonna get that arm."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocket's
I
the
love his
freaking best.
obsession with like body parts.
Yeah.
so
So
funny.
hilarious.
It's
Yeah,
so
I love
good.
that the eye gag comes back for Thor's
Yep,
eye.
yep.
So
Yeah.
cool.
And it's a different eye than the one like.
Yeah, it's not the one he stole
I
from
was
the
kind
prison.
of digging the eye patch. Though. I really
was
like
too.
the eye patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was digging the look too, but it's. I want him to like
Yeah.
be able to do something with that eye, like
Yeah.
have it be
Oh, yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But who
Yeah.
do we care? What do we care?
Logan,
Thor can
you're-
do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He has two different colored eyes. They're different pigments. I
That's
noticed
true.
that.
Yeah.
It's lit. I'm like, I related to that. Get it? Eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, Logan, what was
Caleb
your
has
favorite?
two different
I
colored
gotta
eyes.
say about the black. No, tell me your favorite, and then we'll talk about Black.
For me, it was Peter and Tony. That was to me the
Yeah.
most emotional because you could see Tony tried to keep Peter away from this whole mess the
He
whole
did.
time, and
Yeah.
Peter just kept on being Peter.
And
And
it's
it recalls back to his line in Civil War. He's like, if you have like the power and bad things happen and you had the power to stop them, that's on you.
Yeah.
And that philosophy keeps extending throughout this entire film, and that's why he loses, and that's why it messes up like Tony so much, but Peter is scared at the same time because he's a kid.
He's
Yeah.
terrified.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
terrified. He
And he
doesn't
did
want to
that.
die. He
It
doesn't want to go.
reminds us that
he
he's
doesn't know what's
young.
going on.
Yeah.
And that
'Cause
moment, he's not Spider-Man. He's kid Peter Parker.
Yeah, he's
and
Yeah.
it's so vulnerable.
in space.
Because all up
It's
to
reverse
that,
Uncle Ben.
yeah, all up to that, he's
I never
he's
thought
fought,
about it that way.
like kind of. Let's put it in the category of like
I need a
petty
tissue.
crime or petty villains
Yeah.
on Earth in New York.
Yeah.
He hasn't gone out and done all this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
This is
farthest he went was
Thanos
in Civil War
from,
when he went to Germany, right?
Leipzig.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but even that, he was fighting other heroes, and it was kind of like a punching match. And then they're like, we're good, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, not to diminish Civil War, but you know what I mean. Compared to this,
Yeah.
this is like you're
Oh,
right.
you see
One
how
of my-
Peter
the
feels
weight
about it
of
in
how
Homecoming.
scared
One of my
he is.
favorite Spider-Man lines in this film is, I can't be the neighborhood-friendly Spider-Man if there's,
There's
no
no
neighborhood to
neighborhood,
protect.
yeah.
That was so like poignant.
Do you know-
That was his reason.
Great line.
I totally like that death scene also calls back to Tony's conversation with him in Homecoming where he's like, see, like,
On the boat.
yeah, where
Yeah.
he's like, I feel like if you die,
Yeah.
then that's on me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and
we all knew
spoilers.
that's what was going to
oh
happen.
yeah.
Real
I'm-
quick, can I say one thing about Spider-Man?
yeah.
Yeah.
So when his
I want to talk about Spider-Man too.
too.
Iron Spider suit comes
Oh,
out,
that was great.
so awesome,
So cool.
And
So
so
good.
after
Great
reading
reveal.
Civil War,
Yeah, did you like that?
you gave me, I read it literally in one sitting.
Yeah.
I sat down and it was
It's
like
so
it
good.
hooked me the whole way. But I saw that was when the first time I saw his suit do
Yeah.
that in the Civil War comic, and so to see that happen in this was like,
Oh, yeah.
and,
That's awesome.
And it was my
That's
first
cool.
moment of, because we've established this before on the podcast that I'm not a comic
It's
reader,
okay.
but
Yeah.
getting into it, I love it. So it was the first moment for me where I'm like, I've seen that before, and they
Yeah,
pulled
yeah.
that from the comics, and it was
Yeah.
a
Great
cool
feeling.
like
It's a
tie-in.
great moment.
It is
isn't
a cool
It makes
moment.
you feel like a nerd.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I love.
Shout out to the one guy who, like, when they said the name of Thor's hammer that they're about ready to build, who just like screamed and yelled.
Yeah, in our
one dude
theater.
was stoked.
He was
I was
like,
like, what a guy.
With the storm thing?
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker.
And that
Yeah.
was the name.
Stormbreaker.
Okay, so I was thinking that was like another relic that they were going to introduce, but that's the name of his weapon, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was gonna say for the Peter stuff, I love that like in that whole like Titan action sequence, as drawn out as it is, it starts with Mantis and like they're in the middle of a fight. He sees her get thrown and he just stops everything he's
tries to
doing
save
and
her.
he's like,
I love
"Uh-oh,
that.
I gotta save
Yeah.
her,"
And
and like
even-
he
yeah.
just keeps
It's his
saving
heart.
people. Like
Oh.
that's just who Peter is.
Yeah.
That's just who
Yeah.
Spider-Man
When they were all
is. Like,
floating away, you can tell in his voice inflection where he's just scared, but he's really
Yeah.
trying to like just save everyone.
yeah,
But he
so
can't.
relatable.
His instinct
Yeah.
and his like fight or flight is to fight and to like fight for others to like
Yeah.
make sure
Scared.
everyone's safe.
You can tell he's just scared throughout the entire thing. He doesn't know
Oh,
what's
yeah.
going. His voice, is perfect. Like this is my favorite.
This is my favorite Tom Holland movie
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
Imagine
he
like
really did a good
the
job.
moment where like he just gets like choke slammed by Thanos and like
Yeah.
how much he must have been just.
Can I
freaking
just
out.
say, I think one of the best like Spider-Man scenes was when they're about to take Thanos's the gauntlet off, and like Spider-Man
And
was
he's
the
got
one
it.
pulling it off. He's
Yeah.
the closest one like to actually have the gauntlet in his hands, but.
And he's
Obviously,
like,
yeah.
I got it.
Yeah,
Like,
and he was
yeah.
so close. Fingertips. It was on the fingertips.
It was off,
It
and
messed
then he
me
grabbed
up.
it. No, it was off the hand.
That was
And
hard.
then
Yeah.
he snapped, and he reached out for it, so it was off his hand completely.
It was so frustrating
Yeah.
for me when Quill ruined that moment.
Yeah,
You knew
but
it
you
was
Like
coming.
feel it.
you
But even
empathize and
then-
you understand it, but it's just like, come on, dude,
Do
just put
you
your
see
put
what-
That's
your
what I
own
love,
feelings,
is,
like,
compartmentalize them
he's
for a
losing
second, so
everyone
we
he
can
loves.
like,
See,
save
but
the
even
universe.
that reaction, I love it because it's a honest
Yeah.
human reaction.
Peter.
Totally.
Yeah.
From guilt, from grief,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
to not do what you just said, and to totally just I gotta punch
Yeah.
him right now, and I don't care about anything else. I just need to. And then he realizes it later, like we lost.
Think
Like,
about ego. He did the same thing. Like no
Right.
like time to think about it. He
Yeah.
just went after
a good
it.
point.
I
Yeah.
love
No.
like Peter's. Yeah, I felt like it was
Yeah.
totally in his character, but I love his death scene and like when he's like, "Here it is," or something. I can't remember exactly
So
what he said,
something like that.
But I think it's like it's him realizing his comeuppance for like acting the way he did,
Yeah.
and knowing that like this is the result. Like we let him win,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I let him win.
And I think that's where it gave Doctor Strange again strength, like to talk to Thanos, because like everybody else was so emotionally
Yeah.
like
And he's focused
not
on
stable.
Yeah. He's a little
Okay.
sociopathic.
He's all about like protecting the stone, and like seeing the bigger picture. And I get and that's awesome. But then and I love that he chooses the person's.
the
He
end.
chooses
Yeah,
Iron
he
Man.
kinda
He
comes
chooses
around.
life.
Yeah.
Over the protecting the stone.
Yeah, and like
That's awesome.
Iron Man
That's a
still,
really cool
Iron Man
arc for
still
him.
thinks that Doctor Strange is just a douche, and like
Yeah.
Because think about it, they're the two biggest egos in the room, and I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun watching them play off each
Yeah,
other.
I did too.
Because
So-
Cap's not around to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
Cap's not. He's the.
They
he
never
see-
see each other
He
in the
sees
movie.
Yeah,
Tony-
that was impressive to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're so right. Tony and
Yeah.
Peter.
They
and
never-
Tony and Steve
they-
never meet.
They never
never-
even talk
No.
because
Yeah.
right when he's about to call him, that's when
you know
That's
what?
such a cool way to
That's when
subvert the audience's
everything
expectations.
happens.
we gotta. I want to talk about Black Panther just for a
Yeah.
hot minute, but maybe we can talk about it after
Wakanda
the podcast
forever.
because we got to wrap this up. But we do need to give a quick shout out to a couple of scenes. The action scene in Scotland where Cap and Falcon and Black
Oh,
Widow
it's
show
so
up
cool.
and just kick butt and take
Yeah,
names.
that was
Team
cool.
Cap is my
And then-
favorite.
The scene where
or kick names and take
Take
butt.
a- take-
yeah,
Yeah.
So it's such a good
and
line.
then the scene where they just like you see kind of the further result of the Sokovia Accords and them coming to meet. I think that's as close in the movie as we get to Cap meeting Tony is Cap meeting Rhodey for the first time after they've kind of been separated.
Yeah.
And just like the knowledge, the acknowledgement, the respect. I love how Rhodey just like dismisses the council and is like,
Yeah.
you guys are idiots. The world is ending. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
I like that
government
too.
or like,
I love that they brought back General Ross again.
yeah.
Did
Yeah.
not expect that as as kind of the
Which-
face of registration.
That was cool because I think in an interview, it may have actually been the press panel where it was all of them earlier this week, and they it was Jeff Goldblum hosting it. Did you guys see that?
Oh, he hosted like the press junket.
He hosted like a hour-long press junket, and they had to
That's
do.
cool.
They had like a old bingo machine where like the little balls, and so they'd draw one, and it would have like one of the actors' names on it, or a bunch of them, and they could like that's how they ask questions. Anyways,
Yeah.
So somebody asked a question to Joe and Anthony Russo about how much Civil War would play into this, because in the trailers you don't ever see Tony and
Steve.
Steve together.
You see that phone though.
But I honestly went into it thinking Tony would show up in Wakanda. I
Yeah.
legitimately thought
I
that
did
was going to
too.
happen. And so to never see that, like it continually went back to, whoa, they're still kind of like separate.
Yeah.
And to maybe even see that then come full circle in the next film where maybe they, because they're the kind of the two leaders of the remaining bunch, maybe they kind of come back together. I don't know. Maybe they come back
Thor's the
together.
leader
and-
now.
Thor. Okay, one quick thing.
Gosh,
When he came to Wakanda and his
I lost my
hammer goes
crap.
in, that was one moment where I literally I got tingles up my spine, and I was like, whoa, that was
when you watch Avengers 1 the first time,
he's a boss now.
and you have all those amazing action moments where you're just losing your crap and you're feeling that moment. That was an Avengers 1 level moment, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
I felt
It really took me back to that showing.
really
the
did.
I
midnight
felt that
showing.
this
Yeah.
whole
Especially
movie.
with the bam, bam,
Yeah.
bam, bam.
Yeah.
It was all just
Yeah.
blaring during that. I was
People
like,
dressing up, all that
yeah,
stuff.
I love Thor in this movie. This is the first movie where Thor feels like the god
Yes.
of
Yes.
thunder.
He
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
feels like a god, not like a just a
Because
regular
Ragnarok,
Just a
I
man.
dude
think,
with
was
a
his
hammer.
low.
Yeah.
He's a
So
strong guy.
strong.
He was pretty stripped down for Ragnarok,
definitely.
But they built him back
but
up.
he's back up
Yeah.
now. Yep.
Well, I was saying earlier, they totally balanced him out from the first two Thor movie or three. Sorry, there's three movies. No, sorry, the first two, Thor, then Thor: Dark World, and then Ragnarok. He was funny in Ragnarok. First two, he was kind of Shakespeare, but they kind of combined them both, which
Does
made
mother
him really
knoweth
great.
you weareth her drapes?
Yeah,
I think we were also talking, Logan and G and I really appreciate how, people aren't together at the end of this movie,
Yeah.
and that I feel like they would have had to make some inconsistent leaps to try that they didn't try to get everybody in the same place
Yeah.
for one climax at the end.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like Thanos was like, now I'm gonna.
We've already seen that twice.
This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Was
Avengers
all
1
of
and
you
Avengers
against
2.
all of me, kind of a Ultron, but that they all had their separate battles and that they stayed there.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to.
Tony
and
But what
alone.
was cool
He's-
is
yeah.
it didn't feel like one hero was off on this side fighting this
Yeah.
villain, and one hero the groups were sized up, and
Yeah.
so it still felt like
Yeah.
we're in Infinity War, we're not just in
And the
old
team
Avengers.
ups were cool too.
Yeah.
The different dynamics.
and unexpected.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I also liked that the teams weren't necessarily working with each other. They didn't really know what was going on with everybody
It was
else
just
or
more
back on
personalities
Earth.
playing off each other.
Yeah, they're just this is what we know Thanos is coming and this is happening and this is what we have to do to stop it right now. They're not
Yep.
even and Tony's up in space and he's going to be doing this, so
Yeah, totally.
he's got that covered. They're just this is what's in front of us and this is what we have to do.
Can I say my favorite trio out of the movie would probably be Black Widow, Okoye, and Scarlet Witch.
That was such a
That
great
that was
fight.
a cool. That was a
That
good
was
fight.
really
That
cool to
was
see them all
Proxima
together.
Midnight.
My
Yeah.
favorite trio is
Say it.
Cap and that action scene when they come in and they just put the Black Order on on the ground.
It's so
Oh,
sick.
okay.
Easily.
That,
Yeah.
Easily.
and
They
it's
just
so classic Team Cap.
yeah.
That's when you want to take him down. You want to take him down hard, and you want to be Black Ops. You go Cap.
How about
Yeah.
Cap almost outrunning Black Panther?
Oh, that was such a cool
that
moment.
was so cool.
Oh my god.
I lost my
dope.
crap in that moment.
Okay,
Anyways.
so on that scene, this was one thing I thought this movie did really well too. Is this was the first time where the massive army of the villain actually felt
Menacing.
a little
Scary.
bit scary
Yeah.
and
It looked like
like
Venom.
The character
honestly.
designs
Threatening.
for those are super good. Oh,
Like-
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be honest. Avengers 1, what were they called?
The Chitauri.
The
Yeah.
Chitauri.
yeah, but they just look like
Chitauri?
aliens.
Chitauri.
This
The
look like
Chitauri
Alien vs Predator. type
Just
stuff.
to me, didn't feel like they had that weight to them or that
Yeah.
scariness.
They're just kind of
But you,
soldiers.
but you didn't care because it was all about the team
Exactly,
assembly.
exactly. I still loved it. Age of Ultron, the all the robots.
Sure.
I was
Ultron
Robots.
drones, I do not give
Okay.
a crap about.
yeah, it was like fine. This, I was like, oh crap, they're scary, and they're
trying
they're
to
the
eat your
kind-
face off.
Yeah, the part where it's
Yeah.
where she's they're killing themselves,
Yeah.
and they're oh, they're not terrified by our shield, they're just gonna suicide go through
Do
it.
whatever it takes.
That was whoa, okay.
Also, can we talk about the Phantom Menace vibes of it all too?
yeah,
Right?
that was
Yeah.
great.
Any
That was
force field
great.
just takes me back.
In a
Hashtag add
glass,
Star
and in the
Wars.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grass field.
I loved the moment
The
though,
Gungans,
the
you know?
impetus for them to
It's
have to face them head on because they could have just stayed in the shield, but he was but some will get through and some
yeah.
will get to Vision and
And the people.
and I just love the moment
Yeah.
of decision.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Anyway,
that was
guys,
so
we
good.
got to wrap this up. Unfortunately, we could
We're
talk
gonna do
for hours.
another episode
But,
about it.
yeah,
But this
we-
is just our first reactions.
So, listeners, you can. This was just hot off the press. Us shooting from the hip. Our immediate first time reactions. We've all just seen it for the first time at the earliest showings we could, and if you haven't seen it, you shouldn't
see
be
it.
listening. If you've made it this far in this podcast,
you just wrecked it
what
for
are
yourself.
you do? What have you done?
Sinners.
It says spoilers in the title. But anyways, you can, if you have listened and you've just seen the movie and you're coming
wanna
out of your
process,
reactions,
too.
you want to join in on the discussion. Tell us your first reactions. What were your favorite moments? Your favorite death scene?
Comment on
about it.
Facebook. Comment on Instagram. Send us an email. It'll
Twitter, Facebook, everything.
all about it.
And you can be looking out for, we will have an official kind of more thought out, kind of critical, not just reaction, but kind of a review of this movie.
After we've seen it. A couple
probably
more
after
times.
most of us see it again.
Yeah.
Try 5 times, maybe.
We'll see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
This movie's gonna drain my bank account.
Final thoughts. I think for me, this is one of the most epic movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I think as far as sheer scope, emotional impact, I don't think we've seen a film like this since
Never.
Return of
Yeah.
the King.
Yeah.
Honestly,
This is my number one.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think even over a
Dude,
Star
this
Wars
movie-
film,
oh yeah, this is
Yeah,
way more.
I
epic.
agree. I'm
There's
with
more
Logan,
going on. There's
too.
more
No,
characters.
My
I
life
think you're
has
right.
been
Scope.
changed.
Return of the King.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
man,
hasn't been
you're so
something
right.
like this, just epic in every nature of
Yeah.
the word epic since Lord of the Rings.
Well,
Well,
like a 10-year
Caleb,
thing.
yeah,
What?
Caleb brought up a really great point that we've been working on this for the past 10 years, and so yeah, we finally got.
Yeah. And I think
We got what we
it kind of goes to show
deserve.
what the DC universe has tried to copy and
They shall
have,
not be named.
but
Yeah.
but they have not put in the work before what should have been a Justice League movie maybe
Yeah.
6 years from
Yeah.
now. They did it, last year. Anyways,
They
sorry.
just this
Had
just
to throw
makes
that
Justice League look just like a piece of
I was thinking about that
trash.
on the way over here. I'm like, what is Justice
The
League?
DC
Come
cinematic
on.
universe is not up
It's
to
not a
par.
universe.
It's not even in
I'm
the
more
same
of a
thing.
DC fanboy than Marvel, by far. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe takes a cake.
Just takes
It's-
it.
I don't know what they're doing at the DC.
It's
They need
no
to-
and I'm kind of with arguably. Just as characters,
Yeah.
Batman and Superman are more beloved,
and the side characters down below. They
yeah.
even have
they have
Great
more
supporting
history.
cast.
Yeah,
They have
villains.
villains for the first.
but they
the cinematic needs
They
to
can't
up
do
its
it.
game. It
Yeah.
needs to take itself more seriously.
I turned to Logan after we finished the movie and I was laughing. I was like, DC couldn't make it here in the next 20 years,
No.
in their wildest
Yeah.
dreams.
Yeah, Marvel's
No.
killing it. This is my number one for the Marvel Cinematic
Easily.
Universe. Yep, it
Easily.
bumped up. I thought it was going
Yeah.
to be up in the top 5.
I
there.
agree. So
It's incredible.
This
For
was
infinity.
this hit my number one within
So
20
fast.
minutes of the
Yeah.
film.
Yep.
I was like, I'm
It's
in.
just confident
It
in a
was
different way than
by the
any other
time
Marvel
we
film.
were by the time we were through the New York scenes, I was like, this is my number one, already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I knew where it was headed, and I'm like, dang, this is awesome.
Well, listeners, you've heard it from us.
We want to hear
We
it
want to
from
hear
you.
from you. Yeah. Subscribe if you like what you're hearing. If you haven't checked this out, if this is the first episode you're listening, Logan and I, with our friends, these 3 and many others, we've done a whole review of the MCU, the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're coming in to this. It was all for this. It was all for this end and for seeing Infinity War. So check those episodes out, and you can look forward to our review coming out and much more after.
Awesome.
Yeah. Once again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.